We're back. Thanks for staying with us. This, of course, is Money TV. We're having our panel discussion talking about naked short selling and the various methods these people will employ to achieve their ill-gotten gain. And with us on the phone, as we've been saying, Richard Altamari, author of the book Sold Short in America. Richard, chime in. Tell us what you're thinking.
Well, I'm certainly thinking about these message boards, Don. I know that at Universal Express we had over 500,000 negative posts after we won our $700 million judgment with no help from any regulatory agencies. And I truly commiserate with the other CEOs around that table. But I think we need to more seriously remember that there are thousands and thousands of American companies and terrific, brilliant ideas that have gone out of business as a result of this horrific practice, and hundreds of thousands of Americans out of work because of something as insignificant as these message boards. These message boards must be regulated. So I thank you for giving me that opportunity to say that, Tom.
Well, you know, Dean, taking this a step further, I mean, I have seen situations where you have been like personally attacked, not just your company or anything else going on, but they just like, well, we're going to go after Dean James and his personal life. It's kind of ridiculous.
Pictures, you name it. I mean, they hack my Facebook page. They do a ton of stuff. I mean, and like I said, your hands are tied. You know, you can't really respond to that. I mean, unless if you go after a lawsuit, you know, go with a lawsuit, go after the message boards or whatever, and it's a losing battle. In the end, what do you have at the end? You get one message guy off there, and he changes his name and does it anonymously with another name, and you know, there are sites where the negative bashers are the moderators. So then anyone who wants to say anything good about you or good about the company or just going back to due diligence can't even do that. They immediately erase their posts and have total control over it. And it's very frustrating to be able to have that happen.
And what also happens is, I've been CEO of a number of companies over my career, and in 1998, in January 1998, when Milberg Weiss was going after everybody for these bizarre class action lawsuits, I was CEO of a billion-dollar company that was the victim of a restatement 6 months after I left that company. And when people on these chat boards run out of anything that's current, they immediately go back and they make it seem like things that happened 10, 12 years ago that are totally irrelevant and completely out of context. Oh, and did people know that Bob was involved with this or Bob did that? I mean, I don't think it was so bad having a company. I started with $5,000 and resigning when it had a market cap of over $1 billion. I mean, if people want to attack me for that, that's fine. But what has it got to do with MMRF? What has it got to do with what we're doing today? What has it got to do with the fact that the Obama administration wants everybody in America to have a personal health record by 2014? Those are the facts that the people who care want to learn more about. They don't want to learn about mythical stuff that's made up by crews to short stocks so people can manipulate them.
What I don't understand is why anyone who is really looking at a company and maybe as a shareholder in a company would listen to the things that are posted by these anonymous posters. It's sort of like the guy that sends you an email saying he's the barrister for the Sultan of Sudan and they want to send $50 million, we just need your checking account information. That's about what this is. It makes absolutely no sense. As we said, you know, one of the great things about the internet is the anonymity, but one of the bad things about the internet is the anonymity.
Right, and I was going to say, you know, I think one of the issues that we saw actually with Imaging 3 a few months ago, somebody had posted that they found out that Imaging 3 was filing for bankruptcy and posted that not only that it was filing for bankruptcy, but listed the name, address, and phone number of Imaging 3's lawyer.
SEC lawyer.
His SEC lawyer, which was news to the lawyer. And then Dean posted a response to the board saying, just FYI, from the CEO of the company, we are not filing for bankruptcy. And of course, Dean's posting was removed, and the bankruptcy posting was allowed to stay on. Now, I think the issue comes up with, first of all, was as we were mentioning before, and Tom was mentioning, you know, you've got investors who are doing due diligence, but you also have potential business partners. You have financiers. Right. If the company wants to make a move to the NASDAQ or take or uplist to a higher exchange, you know, there's a lot of due diligence that's done on the company. And realize that I know that some people look at the source and see it's message board posting, but if there's enough information out there and you're doing a search, you know, you file like Imaging 3 bankruptcy, you know, you're going to see that post, and that's the kind of stuff that's not being stopped. And I've even responded on some of those boards in defense, just to give people some perspective, because voices of positivity, just seem to disappear. And I've had my posts removed, and the negative posts remain. I think it goes back to what you were saying. There's, you have employed bashers who are moderators of these boards who can pick and choose. They're not being regulated by any organization. And in fact, we know one message board where the CEO of that message board was indicted.
Right, in jail.
Yeah, and yet that board goes along with, and the board goes along without any kind of control or moderation. And unfortunately, again, as an early stage company, you don't have a lot of channels to do promotion. So you try. Obviously, we could 8K every single activity in the company, and that's one thing to do. But then we spend all of our time filing 8K reports constantly. And if that's the only way to combat it, then maybe that's a choice. But we try to use other means to. We're in the world of social media and social networking, so we're trying to take advantage of what's available to our investor base and to the world at large. And and again, that leaves it open to being targets of folks who have an ulterior motive.
But that's also a service to the shareholders, which is very important. You need to communicate. And so when we spend money, which we do, we spend our time and corporate resources to create as open and as detailed communication channel as possible with the shareholders. That's a very important investment, I think, for the shareholders, and we're doing it as a service to them, and also, on the other side, compliance with SEC. And I don't think that, this is my own personal pick, we shouldn't be picked apart for spending money on that, because it's very important. If you don't do that, like Brian says, you don't create interest. I mean, we recently made an announcement, 16.3% conversion efficiency certified by NREL, National Renewable Energy Laboratories. We announced that. We spent money getting that information out there. That has resulted in significant uptick in international interest in our technology, all right? At the same time, you get bashers saying, well, the company's spending money on MoneyTV. There goes more cash down the drain. Companies spending money doing that. It's important capital we're spending there, and investors need to realize that we're doing this not to just to benefit the company, also benefit them and try to support their investments. It's a key aspect to what we do.
It's a great point and a great plug, by the way. Did you want to
These chat boards are a revenue driver for internet sites, and is really what's going on.
Exactly.
Yahoo Finance, great site, provides a service, but they still want eyeballs to go hang around and engage over individual investments, because as you're doing it, there's pop-ups and ads that are coming up all over, and that's what's generating revenue, and that's what's generating their stock. But in terms of integrity and caring about the stuff that's on there, there is more regulation on parental controls and social media than there is in the financial world, where market manipulators and short-selling experts can take advantage of people's money. And that should not be the case. It just shouldn't be.
You're absolutely right. And, guys, I could sit here and we could do this all day. Yeah. Unfortunately, MoneyTV is a 30-minute program. We're about at the end of the program. I think I would love to sit down at a future date and pick up this conversation again, because this has been fascinating. I think it's something that we've been wanting to do for a while. I know Brian mentioned it to me a few months ago, and we thought this would be a good idea. I appreciate everyone being here. Tom Djokovic with XNX, Brian Altoonian with Wowio, Bob Loris with MMR Global, of course, Dean James with Imaging 3, Richard Altamari, Sold Short in America author. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this round table. I think we've debunked a few myths.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.